We're currently still working on some of the AV stuff, so just be patient with us. But again, I call the meeting of the Muscatine Rotary Club to order. So let's have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will welcome Jessica to give our thought of the day.
To adventure. The adventure of life is to learn. The purpose of life is to grow. The nature of life is to change. The challenge of life is to overcome. The essence of life is to care. The opportunity of life is to serve. The secret of life is to dare. The spice of life is to befriend. And the beauty of life is to grow. And that's William Arthur Ward.
So our next part is to give an introduction of one of our newest members, with Bobby be willing to come up here and kind of give us a brief intro or introduction of himself.
It's not been enough, though.
Yeah, I know, right? So, good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob Fiedler. I'm the director at Musser Public Library and H&I Community Center. I was born and raised in Muscatine and eventually made my way back here in 2006 when I started at the library. I've been in libraries for about 22 years now, which is kind of hard to believe. I've been director for almost 2 years now, so I started back in May of 22, so that's flown by incredibly fast. My wife, Amy, is a professor at St. Ambrose University. She teaches in the biology department. And we actually met at the biology library at the University of Iowa as work study students. And so she became a biologist and I became a librarian, so we kind of completed the circle there. We used to leave notes for each other in the medical journals and then leave a little call number, post-it sticky on the computer monitor for when the next one of us would come in on the shift. And so it was either kind of cool or kind of nerdy or maybe a little bit of both. But I like to think of a medical student today finding some of those notes and wondering, is this for me? Or But in our free time, we like to go hiking and camping in the nearby natural areas. And we also try to climb one 14,000-foot peak every year in the Rockies. There's 58, depending on who you ask, in Colorado, and we've done 10 so far. So this year we're trying to do 4 in one day, which is the longest ascent that we'll have done or tried. It's called the DeKalb. It's the 4 peaks of Democrat, Cameron, Lincoln, and Ross. And so we'll give that a shot this July, as long as the snowpack is down, and see if we make it back or not. In my free time, I do some woodworking. I do mostly hand tool work. I don't use a lot of power tools, so I like to use green wood, so wood that's been freshly felled. I make chairs and stools and carve spoons, and in fact, we're going to be possibly doing a spoon carving class at the library later this year, so if anybody's ever interested in that sort of thing, stay tuned. I'd love to have you. It should be really interesting. And so, as far as Rotary goes, I was trying to think of my first time that I ever recall hearing about Rotary. And when I was in high school, a really good friend of mine, Seth Augustine, earned a Rotary scholarship to Spain and studied there for a year. And so some of you may have known Seth, depending, it was quite a long time ago, but he came back and he had just incredible stories about his experience studying abroad and what he got to do over there. And so that inspired me to apply to study abroad in Ireland in my sophomore year when I was at Iowa. And so I got to go over to Trinity College in Dublin and did something called the Irish Writing Program for a semester. It was an incredible experience. If you've ever been to Dublin, if you haven't seen Trinity, it's that walled school that is right in the center of Dublin town. It's got like 12 or 14 foot high walls. And just a beautiful kind of magical place. It's like being in Hogwarts, for those of you familiar with Harry Potter. Really, really impactful experience. It kind of changed the trajectory of my life. And so while I didn't go through a Rotary program, it indirectly impacted me. And so I've always kind of thought of Rotary in that way. And when I was asked to be part of Rotary, that was the first memory that came to mind. And so when I learned about all the other remarkable things that Rotary does for the community and the goodwill and the generosity that you all give back to the people here, I was really excited to be a part of that. And so I'm grateful to be here and great to get to meet all of you. So.
We do have one unfortunate news. Unfortunately, Holly Peterson has resigned due to health reasons in retirement, so we've lost a member. So again, one of the things that we definitely need to focus on will be membership, and there'll be more to come on that when I start working on my presidency coming up in July. So let's go to the happy news or business news. Does anyone have anything they want to present?
I have quarters, I'll put them over here. I'm excited that I had the opportunity to attend the boys 1A basketball state championship game in Des Moines on Friday. My nephew Eli plays for Bellevue Marquette Catholic. It's a teeny tiny school. Their student section was made up of the entire school. I wish I could tell you how many people go to the school, but their team, I think, of varsity players is made up of 7 people, so they don't have a lot of bench players. And it was cute to see that like the seniors all the way up to the kindergartners were there, and that's exactly how they sat in the bleachers, seniors to kindergartners. So the whole town turned out. Unfortunately, they heartbreakingly lost by 1 point to the only team that they lost to in regular season, so they ended up having 2 losses over the whole season, but it was exciting.
I'm contributing my happy dollar in honor of Mike. Mike stepped up when Megan told us that she wasn't going to be able to preside over our Rotary meeting today. And so as Rotarians, we say yes, right, when asked to serve. So I think we'll see Mike today and then also next week getting some practice for his presidency. Thank you, Mike.
I can drive now, daylight, less than 35 miles an hour, to and from my house, basically, unless I head out to Menards, which you don't know about. But, no nighttime driving, no rain, no bypass, no Interstate 80. They're gonna operate on my head, and when they do, then everything will go back to normal, whatever that is. So, yeah, they're gonna put a line in my head. They're gonna drill a hole and then put a shunt from my brain down into my stomach, and then I'll be able to drive. I don't know where I'll go, but I'm gonna go somewhere.
With that, we do have a pretty full agenda. I'd like to bring Mark up here. We have a Paul here. I asked him to award today.
Get a discount.
Oops.
We do have recognition today for Paul Harris Fellow. So just as a reminder, Paul Harris, those awards started in '57. Rotary started in 1905, so it took a while to get going, but it's recognition of all of his contributions of $1,000 or more over a period of time. So what we have is the programs are an array of different things for the Rotary Foundation. So the funds contributed to the foundation go to international opportunities for water improvement, for immunizations, all types of different things. And it's important that we give back. So it's recognition that Rotary gets worldwide for the work it does to improve people's lives. And that's important for us to remember as we give to the Rotary Foundation. So this time, Shane Orr, if you'll come up, Shane. Shane is being recognized. Shane's been a member for 12 years now, and past president. So before my time here, but I'm sure it was memorable. So you want to say just a couple of things about why you think the Rotary Foundation is important for your giving?
Yeah, I think for me, the Rotary Foundation is important because it gives us a chance to give to a cause that's global rather than just here locally. We have a lot of opportunities locally to give, obviously, but it's a wonderful opportunity to give globally. And so that's one of the reasons why I give, plus the cause itself. And while I'm up here, I will give my own little Rotary story. My first time at Rotary was when I was a 3-point senior, and we came for 3-point senior lunch. That was when it was at the hotel, the old hotel. And so that was my first memory of Rotary. Thanks, Bobby, for bringing up your memories.
So what's the 3-point process that was done?
Well, back then, I think any senior that had a 3.0 or higher at Muscatine High School was invited to attend a Rotary meeting.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was my first memory of Rotary ever. So.
Good. Well, we're recognizing Shane for $1,000 to give him. It's his first Paul Harris Fellowship recognition. So with that, I can go ahead, 3 hands. But it's the recognition of it and also a pin. So you can wear it every Rotary meeting, you can wear it to bed.
I'll give you guys a little closer this time. Thank you.
Thank you. I usually don't use a microphone, but we're going to work through it today. So if you're looking for wood, I can get you a firewood permit for free if you're wanting to carve more spoons. As for 1A basketball, I graduated with 39 kids in my class at Century Cater High School, and that was our school every time the girls basketball team made the state. The whole town hopped on buses and headed up to Des Moines. I think we had 12 girls on the basketball team then, so a little more. As for the driving thing, I plugged my ears on that because I am a law enforcement officer, so I didn't hear anything. But anyway, and then the tree grant, that's awesome. Plant more trees, plant where you can. But moving forward, since I have limited time, so my name is Ben Marcus. I'm the park ranger out of Wildcat Den State Park with the Iowa DNR. Who's been out there? Okay. Who's been to other state parks? All right. Is Wildcat Den your favorite state park?
Yeah.
Yes? Who's got a different favorite state park? It's okay, because mine is probably Lakota Caves or Backbone to visit. Yeah, that's totally fine. I won't hold it against you. So, this is the Iowa DNR mission statement. It reads, to conserve and enhance our natural resources in cooperation with individuals and organizations to improve the quality of life in Iowa and ensure a legacy for future generations. So we as a state need people like you to help provide these local and public areas, because I think in the state of Iowa only 1% is actually in public land. The rest is all ag. So we got to keep what we got, because who's been there to Wildcat Den since they're a kid, and who wants their kids and grandkids and great-grandkids continue to go to this. So without you, we can't do it. And I appreciate hearing the good things that you provide for the community and everything else. So in the DNR, we're broken up into different bureaus. We have law enforcement, communications, fisheries, wildlife, and parks, forests, and preserves. Just within parks and preserves, we have 94 state parks, rec areas, and forests. But of those 94, only 74 are actually managed by the state. The other 20 are managed by other agencies, such as county conservation. There's a couple that are managed by townships or cities and stuff like that. Because Iowa is unique. Not only do we have a state park system, we also have a county conservation board system as well. So 99 counties means there's 99 county conservation boards. I think we're one of 3 states in the entire nation that actually provides that. And also, all parks besides federal are free to visit. Other states have user fees, so we're very fortunate that you guys can just go to the park whenever, unless you're camping, and I hope you're paying, because if you're not, then I'll have a conversation with you. So anyway, we have OHV parks, about 95,000 acres, a bunch of campsites, cabins, lodges, picnic shelters, and trails. Everyone loves trails. Paved, natural, gravel, any which way. And then this map, if you can see it, this is how we're broken up into our 5 districts. So we're down here in District 5 with this group of state parks. There's about 13 to 15 parks per district. Yeah, so if the computer works. So brief history of Wildcat Den. We start off with Benjamin Nye in 1834. Everyone knows who Benjamin Nye is. So he's the first settler in Muscatine, and that he's the one that actually built that Pine Creek grist mill out there at the park. Anyone who's visited there, I'm assuming you've all been through that and seen the grist mill. So 1934 is when, 1948 is when he built it out there, and then a couple years later he did pass away. But the Brant sisters, they actually own land that is the park today. So in 1918, they started the idea of, hey, we should preserve this so public can view it, enjoy it, just like we are. But it wasn't until 1926 when the state started buying land around it. And then eventually, once that land was around the Brandt sisters, they actually donated the land, and it was actually finally dedicated in 1935. So there was about a 10-year stint trying to get all the T's dotted and I's crossed, you know, all that fun stuff with state government and everything else. But now it is what we see today, where it's about 435 acres, just Wildcat Den alone. And we have about just under 5 miles of trails. So if you've been out there, you've seen these pictures before. It's one of the most photographed state parks in the state. So every time you see a Facebook post or on the DNR website, there's a good chance it might be from up here. So this is down in the lower picnic area. Fat Man Squeeze, which is up to debate on if that's actually Fat Man Squeeze or not. We've had some discussions about it. Here's down in the Devil's Punch Bowl. And then, of course, a beautiful night sky shot of the Pine Creek Grist Mill. All these pictures are actually taken from just random users that take pictures and then send them to the park. So if you're out there taking cool pictures, forward them my way. We will use them. We put them in the file so that way we know what things look like throughout the years. So, like I said, collectively it's about 435, but the way we have it listed is 427. 20 campsites, 2 shelters. Then we do have the historical structures of the Pine Creek Grist Mill, the one-room schoolhouse, and then the bridge that goes over Pine Creek, which is the original location for it because the road actually went through there back in the day. And then we do have the Pioneer Cabin, which is owned and operated by our Friends group. So again, some more pictures if you've been out there. And then we could not do what we do with that grist mill if we did not have a Friends group. Anybody ever been involved with the Friends of Pine Creek Grist Mill? So it got started back in '96. So from when the mill closed back in the early 1900s till '96, it kind of just stood there, and it got flooded through '93 and all those other various floods. It got full of mud. That the basement was completely full of mud. You could not get down there. So this Friends group was put together by an old ranger back in the day to try to get it back, see if we could get it running. And they spent, I think they had 4-H kids down there digging out the mud. And finally, because if you look at that bottom left corner, that turbine is the lowest point in the mill along the creek. So I think they had to do 20 feet of mud to get to that, because they had no idea what was down there or what was for salvaging. So with the Friends group, they last year alone, they did over 10,000 hours of volunteering. Again, if they weren't there, we probably wouldn't be able to have it open up through the summer like they do and do their programs, because for Wildcat Den, there's only 2 full-timers, myself and then a technician, and then the summer I have 4 seasonals. So they are open from May, October. Last year they did about 8,700 visitors with school groups in the spring. About 946 kids came out. So again, planting that seed when they're young, so that way, hey, let's bring my parents out here to check this out. Because we talk to kids all the time, or talk to parents like, oh yeah, I remember coming out here for field trips. So I bring my kids out now because they got to experience this and see way, especially with the grist mill, how life was back in late 1800s, early 1800s, because they actually kick on motors and run that thing, so you actually see how it worked. And I go in there all the time, and I still don't know how they were able to engineer that thing back in the day. It's crazy. We do also cover Fair Park State Recreation Area down on Highway 22. It's just a campground with 42 electric and water sites, 2 boat ramps. People go down there to watch the barges go up and down the river all the time. So that is part of our management task, and it's a busy place because people love to camp. So what we do as park rangers, managers, techs, we run that park, so we're doing administrative, budgetary, electrical, plumbing, you name it, we do it. The list of things we don't do is smaller, because essentially parks are small towns that we have to manage and operate, so we're dealing with any and every aspect there is to, say, a city, but in a smaller town. So we're doing water treatments, we're doing testing on soils and everything else. For natural resource management, We do have some prairies that I'm trying to restore back to native stuff. We do have a couple remnants, which is prairies that have not been disturbed. They still their original prairie. So with that, there's seeding, mowing, prescribed fire. Get to play with fire in the spring and fall. That's fun. Other natural resource management stuff is we do have a forestry management plan. So we actually had a state forester come out and run through the entire park. And each area is a specific type of tree or forest area. We're actually going through and taking out invasive species, cut trees down. So again, if you need more wood for spoons, let me know. I got plenty of wood out there. Again, maintenance, do all the facilities grounds, mowing, taking care of the trails, interpretation, and outreach. So our friends group does most of it, but every now and then I get the fortunate thing to come and present to groups like you. This winter I did 4 or 5 presentations to high schoolers because Muscatine Community College actually has an outreach program, and they're trying to do some more career development, which is great, and I'm happy to be involved with that. So I've gone to Columbus Junction and L&M, and I was supposed to go to Durant, but that one got canceled. Health and safety, so as law enforcement officer, we have to make sure you guys are having fun and being safe about it. So we have to make sure everything is up to a standard to make sure that's happening, and also being able to respond to things if bad things happen. That's why we have all this training and everything else we do. And then again, there's just 2 full-timers out there, and then we do have 4 seasonal staff. And Fairport does have a campground host that lives on site for us the whole summer, so at least someone's there and to let us know if something's going down. By the numbers for Wildcat Den, last year we had over 88,000 people drive through the park, and then that would equate to 2,500 campers. And the way we calculate it is each camper times the days they stay there, that's our guest days, so a total of 4,100 guest days, and the shelters were only reserved by 1,700 people. But look at Fairport, we had 50,000 plus people visit, so that's just people driving through, using boat ramps, whatever. 2,600 campers, and then total guest days was just under 8,500. This is nothing compared to what I used to do when I was at Big Creek, that 3,500 acre complex. We had 1.5 million go through in 1 year, and that was COVID, which was the busiest year ever for every park. But that was the Des Moines population times 1.5. A lot of people come through, which is great because it shows that people are still getting out and enjoying our parks. It's great for us. We use those numbers to show, hey, this is how much visitation to hopefully get more funding to help us out. As for law enforcement, I am a certified peace officer, so between the 2 parks, I had 1,800 plus contacts, and that could be anything. That could be someone saying, hey, where's the trail out? Hey, where's the bathroom? Or, hey, we need to have a conversation or you're going to take a ride to NC, Muscatine County Jail. So those are anything and everything. Yes, it's out there. No one's perfect. No one really follows the rules. Everyone hates to be told no. It happens. From those 1,800, I did, for written warnings and citations, just over 40. I do a lot of verbal warnings because the stuff I'm dealing with is like, hey, put your dog on a leash. Hey, turn your music down. You're being too loud. That really doesn't warrant a written citation because, hey, don't do that. But if they disagree, then we can have that additional conversation and amp it up. But I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that. For other agencies, so I am a state officer for the state of Iowa, so my jurisdiction is not just the parks, it's the whole entire state. So I am more than happy to go out and help the deputies, the city PDs, whatever. They're well aware that they have told me many times it's very helpful because the additional help out there is great. So I helped them 124 times last year, and they helped me about 60. Because again, small parks, not a lot going on, I can usually handle it myself. But it is nice to know that I have that additional help if I need it. And then interpretive program contacts, so me coming out to you, you give me a number in my little list for the year. So last year I did about 200, over 200. And then this picture, we had Ragnarok down Highway 22. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I actually brought in 4 other rangers because I had no idea what was going on. But at that point, everyone was tired and they just wanted to be done, so they were just flying on by trying to get Davenport. There's a couple people that said, is this the river? Yep, all right, good enough for us. So kind of flew through that. Happy to answer any and all questions you got, whatever. This is my contact info, the technician info, and then if you just want to call the park directly or email the park directly, that email will get to either one of us, whatever. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to come and do it again. Or if you have other groups you want me to come present to, just let me know. But yeah, if you got questions, fire away. Yes?
What kind of wildlife would you see? I haven't actually seen any other than like dogs, but I don't know if that counts, but-
So we have the normal ones in Iowa, a lot of deer, turkeys, squirrels, all that. We did have a flock of chickens get released apparently last year. I kept seeing them run around. Allegedly, back in the day, there used to be no black squirrels out there, but a neighbor said that people were trapping them in town because they were annoyed with them, and they're dropping them out there, so now we have black squirrels out there too. We also get at least 5 to 10 phone calls a year asking if it's safe to go out to the park because the name is Wildcat, so in turn that means, oh, there's wildcats out there, right? There's last year we had a bobcat with triplets running around, but bobcats won't mess with you unless you mess with them, just like coyotes. Allegedly, someone from SSAB said they saw a black bear, but I said pictures or it didn't happen. So, allegedly. In our Pine Creek stream, I've heard of people catching some smallmouth, and every now and then walleye will get up there if the river's high enough because it's right in Mississippi. Other than that, it's usually just panfish, the normal stuff. For plants, we're more known for our specific plants because we have a bunch of rare ferns out there and a couple rare orchids. And you can't really find that anywhere in the state. So, and within this month, next month, those should be popping up. So we should be seeing stuff when they start bringing it up. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Just a couple comments. My wife and I go out there quite a bit, and I know there's been a lot of improvements to the trails over the years. It just looks really great out there, and so that's been nice to see. And my wife, who is a biologist, her specialty is plant ecology, and so she takes students out there from Ambrose every semester, and she says it's one of the best preserved places for plants to find like native species, and so I think
That's great.
To the stewardship.
Yeah. Have her let me know when they're going to be there because we could possibly help out.
Okay, cool.
Or provide anything. But yeah, that's great that she's coming out and do it. Like, that's what they're there for. Come out and enjoy it. They're free. Come on.
And they don't pick on me, I know that.
Anything else? No? Well, I appreciate the time. I can share this PowerPoint with whoever, so you have my contact info. And again, if you have groups that you're involved with outside of here, and you want me to come present, I'm more than happy to do it. Thank you.
So Ben, again, in recognition of your presentation, the Rotary Club of Muscatine will be donating funds to pay for 20 children to be inoculated for polio virus. That's one of our core beliefs for Rotary. So again, thank you and great presentation.
Thank you very much.
So I have a couple of reminders. March 18th, next week we have the Muscatine Police Department, and the following week we have United Way Reading Mentors. So if everyone could please stand for the 4-way test. Of the things we
think, say, or do, is the truth, is a fair law concern, will build goodwill that are friendships, will be beneficial to all concerned.
Yeah. It was good to see you.